6-minute podcast. Business, study, life.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Exams. They're kind of like that one relative you're never quite sure how to feel about.
Haha, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I mean, we all have a pretty strong opinion about them, right?
For sure. And today we're going to dive deep into those opinions.
We've got this awesome document with 6 different perspectives on exams.
And they're all trying to answer the big question, are exams good for us or not?
Exactly. So we've split these viewpoints into 2 camps.
Team pro-exam and team anti-exam. Let's start with the folks who are all about those tests.
Okay, so point number 1 from Team Pro Exam. Exams give us a standardized way to measure what students know.
Right, like a level playing field. So you can compare students across different schools or even countries. Makes sense, right?
It does, actually.
Yeah.
So, instead of just saying, oh, this school is better, you can look at the data and see how students are actually performing.
Yeah, and think about it on a national level. Countries could use exam results to spot trends in education. Imagine everyone struggling with geometry. Boom. Now you know where to focus resources.
That's a great point. So it's not just about comparing students, it's about using the data to actually improve education. Okay, what else does Team Pro Exam have?
Okay, so they also argue that exams can help teachers figure out where individual students are struggling, tailor their teaching to specific needs.
Like personalized learning, right?
Yeah, exactly. I saw this amazing example where a student was having a tough time with algebra.
Oh, yeah.
But his exam results showed he was actually weak in fractions.
Interesting. So it wasn't even the algebra itself, it was the underlying skills.
Exactly. So the teacher focused on fractions, and the student's algebra grades and his confidence just shot up.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like exams can give teachers this secret decoder ring to each student's brain. Okay, Team Pro Exam, you've made some good points. What's your final argument?
They say that exams force you to actually use what you've learned, not just memorize facts, applying your knowledge.
Which is, let's be real, what we all need to do in the real world.
Exactly. What good is knowing all the capitals of the world if you can't point them out on a map, right?
Totally. Okay, so Team Pro Exam has made some compelling arguments. But now, let's hear from Team Anti-Exam.
All right, getting ready for the rebuttal. They're coming in strong with this one. All that stress. Exams put so much pressure on students.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, I remember being so stressed out before exams.
And they argue that all that stress can really impact mental health, especially for younger kids.
That makes sense. I mean, a little pressure can be motivating, but when it's too much, it can be damaging, especially for kids who are still figuring themselves out.
Absolutely. And their next point kind of ties into that. They say that exams focus way too much on memorizing facts instead of actually understanding them.
Yeah, who cares if you can recite the entire periodic table if you don't actually understand what it means?
Right. It's rote memorization versus actual learning. And, this is one of the big limitations of standardized tests. They often struggle to assess things like creativity or collaboration.
Those are important, especially in the real world. How do you measure teamwork on a multiple-choice test?
Oh.
Okay, what's Team Anti-Exam's final argument?
They argue that exams create this crazy competitive environment where it's all about the grade and not about actually learning.
So it's like the focus shifts from, I want to learn and understand, to, I need to get a higher score than everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. And that can really undermine a student's sense of individual worth and make learning feel like a chore.
It's like instead of enjoying the journey, you're just focused on the destination, which is kind of sad.
It is. What if we moved away from just exams and focused more on things like projects or portfolios?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, things that let students showcase their unique strengths and work together instead of competing.
So instead of a culture of competition, we'd have a culture of collaboration.
Right. It's about celebrating what makes each student special and nurturing a love of learning.
That's a beautiful thought. Okay, so we've heard both sides of the argument, folks. What do you think? Do you side with Team Pro Exam or Team Anti-Exam?
It's a tough one, right? Exams have their pros and cons, for sure. But here's something to think about.
Oh, I love a good thought-provoking question.
What if exams aren't the only way to assess learning? What if we could create a system where assessments were actually tailored to each student's individual learning style and interests?
Now, that's an interesting idea. A system that focuses on the individual, not just the score. It kind of makes you rethink the whole purpose of assessment, doesn't it?
It definitely does.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of exams.
And keep thinking about that question. What would a truly personalized assessment system look like?
Until next time, keep those brain gears turning.
6-Minute Podcast. Business, study, life.